Today I'm sharing the books I assigned to my husband. Welcome back to Candlewick Library. I'm Cheryl. If you watched my recent video of my reading journal for 2024, you would have seen this page where I have listed Doug's half dozen. That's what I'm calling this. I have assigned my husband 6 books to read in 2024. That might sound weird, so I'm going to explain why and what I'm assigning him. My husband, Doug, has a great imagination. He actually self-published a book a few years ago called The Book of Four, and he has been writing the second book for a while now, but he hasn't done much with either book yet. And I always told him that he seems like he would be a reader, but he's not. He's read probably less than 10 books his whole life, if that, but he wishes he had been more of a reader. And we've talked a lot about the books that he had in his home when he was growing up, that there was nothing he was really interested in. If he'd had access to somebody who said, hey, read this book when he was younger, he probably would be a reader. He does really enjoy video games and he loves stories, he loves movies. So I asked him if he wanted me to put together a list of books that I think he would have loved as a young teenager. And then he can try out these books and then I can assign more if he gets through them and wants more. And he did want me to do this. So I wanted this to be something where there was a good variety of different kinds of books, and not all of them were children's books. The first one I don't have with me because my daughter is finishing it up, but that is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I am sure he's going to love this book because I loved it, my daughter is loving it, and I think he really will. And so that's going to be the classic children's adventure category. For children's adventure that's not classic, I'm going to have him read Gregor the Overlander by Suzanne Collins. I first read this series right after reading The Hunger Games. I loved The Hunger Games and I wanted to read more by her. And I saw this series and the whole thing was out already. And I had never heard anyone talk about it. I still have only heard a couple people ever mention this series. Gregor the Overlander is about an 11-year-old boy whose sister falls down a grate in their laundry room in their apartment building in New York City. So he, of course, rushes in after her and they discover this dark underland underneath the city. Gregor wants nothing to do with war or conflict. He just wants to find his way home. But he soon finds out that there was a prophecy that the creatures that live down there believe pertains to him. So he steps into the role, not knowing what's going to happen, realizing that the prophecy might be about him. I think he'll really like this book and want to continue with the series, but we'll see. For classic children's fantasy, I'm going to have him read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. He has never read this, and I actually had something else assigned, and then I asked him if he'd ever read it, and he said he started to read it once when he was a kid, but he never finished it. And so I think that now, going back to it, he will actually be able to finish it. Maybe he'll want to read the rest of the series as well. The next 3 books I chose are adult books. For adult mystery, I picked Father Brown, The Essential Tales by G.K. Chesterton. I read this a while back and I really enjoyed them. I think he might enjoy them because we did watch the TV show together a few years ago and we both really loved the TV show. The book is definitely different, but I think that he'll enjoy it. And if he doesn't, that's okay. I've told him if he starts reading anything and he doesn't like it, just put it down and I can assign something else in that category, or he can just move on to the next book. For adult dystopian, I chose 1984 by George Orwell. I think this is a really important book, and I think that it will be such an easy read because I think he'll get sucked into the story. And so again, if he doesn't like it, he can stop reading it, but I really wanted to do a George Orwell, so it was between this and Animal Farm, and I felt like if he reads this one, he might want to read Animal Farm. And then for adult fantasy / science fiction, I picked Timeline by Michael Crichton. I really think that he will love Michael Crichton's writing, and so I chose my 2 favorite books by him, Jurassic Park and Timeline, and I asked him which one he would rather read, and he said Timeline. I talked about this recently in the tag video, that this is a book that involves time travel, medieval times, so there's science, there's quantum physics. I've read this book a few times. I haven't read it for a long time, so I actually want to read this year as well, so that it will be fresh in my mind when he reads it, and so that I can see if I still love it. So that's it. Those are the 6 books that I have assigned to Doug to read this year, and I will make a follow-up video at the end of the year to let you guys know what he's read, if he got through all 6 of them, and what he thought of them, and if there were any that he stopped and I assigned something different, or if he just said, okay, I just don't want to do that one and just went on with the other ones. Let me know if there are any books that you think should have been on this list, and maybe I will add them to a running list of things if he DNFs any of these books, or if he wants me to do this again next year.